Thank you, and thank you to those who've given excellent speeches so far. I represent a constituency in the northeast of England, where even some of our place names have Danish roots and our histories are intertwined, going back as far as King Canute. So I want to start by expressing, both personally and on behalf of the people I represent, our absolute solidarity with our neighbours across the seas, both Denmark and Greenland. As we, a community of friendly European nations, stand together, we have shared values and a shared commitment to human rights, democracy and the rules-based international order. But we're going to have to stand firmer and closer together in the years ahead because the world is changing at an alarming pace. We're living through the start of a new era of realism, an era in which the weak are scapegoated and the powerful are exalted, in which the old alliances can no longer be relied upon. And universal human rights are being subordinated to the idea that might makes right. By standing firm together, the threats against our neighbours in Greenland seems to have reduced for now. But the underlying belief system that a powerful state can simply take territory, whether that's for defence, for minerals, or simply for the ego of its leaders, is still all around us. We must also guard against the enemy within. Because across the free world, not just in the United States, but here in Europe too, the erosion of our democratic values is not happening at the end of a gun, but at the tip of a pen. The pen that casts a vote or signs an executive order. It is happening because people are willing to vote for it. Across the free world, we see leaders exploiting fear and insecurity, offering scapegoats and simplistic answers to complex problems to seize power. Once elected, they use the legitimacy of the ballot box to undermine the judiciary and dismantle the laws that constrain them. In my country, both parties on the right, currently polling to win power in 3 years from now, are committed not only to withdrawing the United Kingdom from the European Convention of Human Rights, but to repealing our own domestic Human Rights Act. So we must take seriously and address together the foreign interference in our media and the algorithms that divide people and foment hatred and division. And we must work together on border security and ensuring that the judgments and rulings from this place do not become our weakest point. We must fight together in the battle for hearts and minds and stand together in solidarity, particularly at this time, with Denmark and Greenland. This Assembly has addressed many important issues, from safeguarding the system of international justice to ensuring accountability and humanitarian protection in Gaza and the West Bank, to peace in Ukraine and standing firm with our neighbours in Denmark and Greenland. But there is one contemporary issue, a crisis, a humanitarian catastrophe, a genocide, in my opinion, happening right now, which I do not believe I've heard mention of, not in plenary or in any committee or side event. I speak of Sudan. Recently, as a committee member of the International Development Committee in my parliament, I heard evidence from the Yale Humanitarian Research Lab of a genocide unfolding in real time. Images consistent with house-to-house killings by Sudan's rapid response forces, bodies on the ground throughout multiple areas of al-Fasher, and evidence of mass graves. The death toll, even at a conservative estimate, has surpassed that of Gaza. Sexual violence is being used as a weapon of war, with reports of women lying on the ground, waiting to be raped, I believe to protect their village, hoping that the militia will not get so far. And we cannot say that we did not know, because the warning signs were there and they were repeated over and over again. Is the world really doing enough? I developed my political consciousness as a 10-year-old, seeing images of the genocide in Rwanda and in Srebrenica in the news, and learning about the Holocaust, which we remembered this week, including a beautiful, moving speech by my parliamentary colleague, Lord Alf Dubs. This led to a career in atrocity prevention and grassroots peace building prior to my election to this parliament. And so I have felt deeply ashamed in recent weeks and fear that I've become one of the politicians I used to critique, of putting "must say something about Sudan" on a checklist of 100 others without giving this issue the urgency it deserves. Mass atrocities are preventable. Are we really doing enough? Have we done enough to pressure the UAE to stop providing the weapons? Have we done enough on humanitarian assistance? Are we doing enough to gather evidence and ensure that those responsible know that they will face international justice? Are we doing enough to protect the victims of sexual violence? My friends and colleagues, I ask you what more we can do in this assembly, and I hope that this will be raised at our next plenary. That powerful states who do not share our values are trying to break up the international rules-based order, and they're doing this by destroying us from within through interference in our democracies. Well-funded and foreign-owned media is pumping out propaganda, and social media algorithms are calibrated to stoke anger and division. So how will members of the Council of Ministers work together in the face of this threat to safeguard our citizens' ability to make informed democratic decisions?